Hello, all you beautiful people out there. What is going on? This is your friend Pretty coming at you fast with another Paragon Beast build, and today we are going to be looking at Countess. Oh my god, we're going to be looking at Countess. She is so sexy. Oh, look at that fucking animation. That's crazy. I love the character design with this one. You know, it's just such a well-rounded character design. You know, just super, just exploding, you know, with personality and attitude, and just, you know, it's just really good symmetrical kind of character design, you know, like really nice. And she's super fucking awesome. All right, I love her. Her abilities are great. She's an amazing assassin. They did a really good job when it came to this assassin. So let's go ahead into the decks and see how we can build her. And not Gadget. What the fuck are you? What? It's that time of the month, boys. Gotta build a deck for Countess. So here we go. She is physical based, of course, and she is a caster, so she scales like a caster and not like a fighter. So do not play her in the jungle. Don't worry, I do have gameplay with her for my guide coming later this week. Once it goes up, I will link it in the description of this video. You guys can go ahead and check that out. Super beast, awesome gameplay versus a whole team of plat and diamonds, and we were plats and diamonds, so it was really cool gameplay. The Warlord Prime card, obviously you want to be doing a lot of damage. The whole point of Assassins is to get in, do as much burst damage as possible, and then get out, okay? So we're going to be focusing a lot on damage this build. We're going to be focusing a lot on health, on armor penetration, and mana, okay? So here we have our starting equipment items, always vary, but usually you start her in soul lane, and she starts off with only 360 health, so I like putting a health token on her, a strike token, and of course a health pot for lane sustain early game, alright? You don't need a mana potion if you use her ability sparingly. You know, try and last hit with your autos as much as you can. If you need to push the wave up quicker, you can use her abilities. Just back often with her. That's what I did. I backed. As soon as I got 3 CP, I backed right away. Usually I stay out for 5, but I backed right away, got that first item, which is going to be Fountain Spike for us, and, you know, build her up real quick. You're going to see that's what I do in the gameplay, if I even show that. Which I most likely should, you know, if I'm a good fucking YouTuber. But yeah, Fountain Spike is going to be the first item you build after those starting items, and we're going to slot this with 3 minor strikes to give us that full upgrade bonus of physical damage. This is going to give us a really good amount of early damage in the lane, and we usually start wards, but we want to get our damage first, because with our ward, which is going to be Brawler's ward, because it gives us mana, we're actually going to slot it with 2 basic manas and 1 minor strike, just for a little bit more damage, but also for that early game mana, so we don't run out of mana too early, okay? You can also switch out that health token or that strike token for a mana pot early game as well, and you should have around 640-ish, 650-ish mana at this point in the game, early game, which is really good because her abilities haven't scaled up all the way yet, because every time you upgrade your ability, it also costs more mana to use the ability. So while you're early in the game, abilities don't cost that much to use, so it's a good amount to have 650 this early in the game, okay? The third item that we're going to build is going to be an Amulet of the Veteran, excuse me. It's going to be Amulet of the Veteran for that early health, okay? Countess has almost no health, so you do want a little bit more damage, and you do want some early health when it comes to that, okay? Now, the reason I paused there and I said, is because in my last game, the Countess that I was versing actually built a tempered plate right off the bat to try and counter me in lane. So that's why I started with Scourging Tails, because this is the active. We're going to get back to this later. I started with that, and then I went with Amulet of the Veteran, but under normal circumstances, you want to go with Amulet of the Veteran third, and you want to slot it with 6 points of health. Lesser health, and greater health, okay? I took your guys' advice. A lot of people in the comment section said you should slot 1, 2, 3, because you get 3 points every time you back. It's just cleaner that way. You know, you don't have extra points lying around anywhere, so it's useful and better that way. So that's why we're slotting it like this, instead of using 3 2-point healths, okay? So there we go. So that is our third item. Okay, our fourth item, like I said, is going to be now Scourging Tails. Usually I build this fourth to give myself a good amount of pen. This is when people start building armor. This is when people start doing all their stuff. And I link it with 3 strikes, okay, just to give myself even more damage continuing on into the game, okay? And the active is that for 6 seconds, on hit with ability, shred 80 physical armor for target for 15 seconds, which is really great because you activate this before you pop her teleport ability. You teleport to the enemy, you use your spin attack, you use your wave clear attack, you use your ult. That enemy has absolutely no physical armor at that point for 15 seconds. It's all the shred you need, and its cooldown is only 45 seconds, which is actually really fast, okay? You only really need to use this when targeting, tanks or anything like that, or, a lot of rangers like to build armor later on in the game. You can shred most of their armor using, if not all of their armor, very easily using this card when you're targeting a ranger. A lot of rangers nowadays build only health, so, this could be only if you're targeting like a fighter or something. So, nonetheless, it's all really good. It's a really good card, and the reason that it's really good is because it shreds, so the rest of your team will be doing even more physical damage to that enemy because their armor is shredded. Okay, that's why that's such a good card. Make sure you leave an active slot open for this card, because one time I didn't and I messed up my build and it really threw me off for the rest of the game. So make sure you do that, okay? Don't leave your last 2 passive slots open for this card, because then you're going to have to throw away a card for it and it's not going to work, okay? So that is the 4th card that you build. Now, the 5th card that you build is we're going to go with even more damage, okay? With this build, you can get over 1,000 points of damage when it comes to your ult, especially now that they hotfixed it so that her card scaling works with her ult. You are going to replace this Fountain Spike, get 6 points back, buy an Adamant Edge that is 12 points. Obviously, do this when you gain 6 CP out in the world and you come back to base. And there you go. Now you have an Adamant Edge with 3 major strikes, gives a little bit more health, and a whole buttload more damage after this card. And now you are imploding fools left and right. Now, the 5th card that I want to build after this is another Adamant Edge for a little bit more damage. We're doing as much damage as we can, okay? That's all how it is with her. You want to try and deal as much damage as you can in one instant. So if it's a ranger, you want to go in on that ranger, focus him, use all of your abilities, everything you have, boom, good, everything nice, ult, and then get out of there, okay? You want to use your... Usually you want to use your Q, which is your teleport, in tandem with your ultimate. So you can teleport to the enemy, ultimate them, kill them or whatever, and then get back using that Q ability. You guys will see what I mean in my gameplay. But this time, we're building a lot of health, okay? This build gives her over 3,000 points of health, which is why I'm going to explain if something... is really interesting to you guys, then you probably already picked up on it because you guys are really, really smart. And you notice that I don't have any armor whatsoever in this build. I'm not using Spiked Bone Plate, I'm not using the Mesh, the Thorn Greenweave, I'm not using any of those cards because Countess's abilities have to deal with lifesteal and percentage of health. When you kill an enemy hero using her abilities, at max level, you get 40% of that enemy's health back as your own health, which is absolutely ridiculous, okay? Like, imagine a Murdoch, typically around 2,000 health, 3,000 health with this new meta right now currently, okay? You kill him, you get 1,500 health back, okay? That's about half the health that you have, all right? The more health that you have, the better that this is going to benefit you, especially when it comes to, like, minions, okay? You get 4% back per minions. Clearing waves, you get so much lane sustain, and it's going to come back more for your health. It's going to be very useful to have your health as high as you can, because the higher health you have, the more you can benefit from those lifesteal capabilities, right? The more kind of, if you want to think about it this way, like it's a tub, like a bathtub, and you can fill it up with water, and every time someone damages you, they splash some water out of that tub. The bigger the tub, the easier it is to fill it up with water, and the slower it will run out of water if people are splashing it out. Okay, if that makes any sense. I don't know if you guys memorize or visualize that, or if that just, totally confused the hell out of you. But think of it that way. That's why focusing on health with her is so much more beneficial than focusing on armor, because a lot of people build armor, shred, and pen anyway in this current meta anyway, and you'd rather have those points going to more damage and more health than have just a little bit of armor that's going to get shredded away anyway, okay? So there we go. That's the explanation for that. Really long-winded. And the last one is actually Pendulum of the Lords. We're going to build this late game with 20% cooldown, okay? We're going to have more mana now to replace our older mana, okay? Because we, got rid of our Fountain Spike, and now we have less mana. 75 less, not that much, but now we have more mana, thanks to Pendulum of Lords, 300 more. And also, you should be in control of blue buff, usually, as Countess, okay? The other casters should be, having a good amount of mana as well to be able to share blue buff with you, okay? So that is why usually as Countess you have blue buff, which increases your cooldown reduction even more. And there you go. So now you have 20% of this, plus blue buff, plus whatever, and more mana. And the reason this is good is because she's all about using her abilities for damage. So the more her abilities come back, the more often, the more damage you can do within a team fight. You know, you deal your burst damage to your target. Now you're teleporting around, running around the team fight, trying to be as hard as a target to hit as possible, waiting for your cooldown to do its thing. You get your abilities back, and boom, you rinse and repeat. And that's usually how you play in a team fight with Countess. Your auto attacks aren't going to do jack squat. It's all about your abilities, so try and focus on that as much as you can. Unless, of course, the enemy is super low and, you know, you can play a bit more aggressive. That's why we have that much health, because we do have that leeway in case we do, for some reason, get CC'd or stunned or whatever, and we can still do a lot of damage, you know, in that instance. So there you guys have it. There is the whole build right there. That is 60 CP. Like always, I will put it in the description if you guys just want it down on paper. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did get to this part in the build video, I want you to say the Countess is sexy. I don't know. I did not think this far ahead. We just haven't done one of these in a while. But yeah, you can say Countess is sexy as fuck, or something along those lines. I don't know you got it to this point of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, make sure you all have a wonderful day.